2026 home buyer trends and strategies, affordability over price. So it just is what it is. There was once upon a time when some people still do it, try to keep up with the Joneses. The more money you make, the more you try to elevate your standard of living. So you were okay driving that Toyota Corolla, Honda Civic. Now you make a few more dollars. You want to go get a BMW, a Benz. You probably were living in a not so decent house, but it served the need. Now you got an increase at your job and you want to buy a bigger house. So people always try to elevate their standard of living, but now it looks pretty decent. It's not nice driveways. I don't think this is approved. That's why some people don't like HOAs. But as I mentioned, if you let somebody get away with extending the driveway, somebody's just going to add another room to the house, on the side of the house, things, and the whole neighborhood can look a mess. So I get why certain neighborhoods want to look a certain way. Anyway, let's keep going.
I just don't think I'm comfortable with that. And I was like, ma'am, you're not even on the HOA board. So, yeah, but they're going to be hearing from me. And I was like, dear freaking God. So I'm going to make it my mission to make sure this woman never gets any position of authority on the HOA board as long.
Well, there's always his story, her story, and the truth, they say, sometimes is in the middle. But just imagine you got your driveway done and your neighbor's telling you they're not comfortable with your driveway. It's amazing what happens in these HOA communities. But if it did violate the bylaws, then she has all right to do so. But he said he got permits and approval. But even though he did that, she doesn't like the way it looks. And the board is going to hear from her. Wow.
Because we live here. But this woman, whenever she walks around the neighborhood, I guess inspecting her fellow neighbors, making sure they're following the rules, she takes her really loud, obnoxious little dog, like it's a Chihuahua, which is like my least favorite breed, to each their own. I have no problem with people owning dogs. She lets it crap everywhere and doesn't even pick it up. So now that I know that she does that regularly, I also know that actually is against HOA guidelines. So I'm definitely going to be recording that and sending that to the HOA like every time.
Well, what I'll do is I'll leave a link to this video in the description down below. And that is one I'll say we didn't touch on before, is not the board, just your neighbors. Can this happen in a non-HOA community? Obviously. The only thing is, they may not get a board, they can call the county on you, but there's not that much power as in an HOA community. 2026 home buyer trends and strategies, affordability over price. So it just is what it is. There was once upon a time when some people still do it, try to keep up with the Joneses. The more money you make, the more you try to elevate your standard of living. So you were okay driving that Toyota Corolla, Honda Civic. Now you make a few more dollars. You want to go get a BMW, a Benz. You probably were living in a not so decent house, but it served the need. Now you got an increase at your job and you want to buy a bigger house. So people always try to elevate their standard of living, but now buyers are tending to lean more towards affordability because it's just the reality of it. Focus on the total monthly payment, including insurance taxes, which are rising faster than income. Especially, I live in the state of Maryland right now. There's a lot of, if you earn this much, you got to pay. Maryland is leaning a little bit more towards the California tax thing, which may help people in low income, but if you are making a decent amount of money, you got to keep that in mind. Your property taxes also, as houses in the area appreciate, your property tax is going to appreciate with it, right? So what your mortgage may be this year may be different next year, not because your mortgage is not stable, it's because the taxes have gone up. So something to think about. Long-term mindset. Choose a home suitable for at least 5 to 7 years to ride out market volatility. And honestly, that's what I did when I purchased my first home. You ain't got to be like me, but I bought a house that I feel as though I can afford comfortably, you know. Honestly speaking, I show houses to buyers all the time, and you get to see their income and what they qualify for. And some of these buyers barely qualify for things, but they want the best, you know. So, hands down, on a personal note, I think I could afford a much bigger house than I currently live in. But it's like, okay, I'm gonna buy this and ride it out for 5 to 7 years, and you know, use the money to start other, you know, just things, you know, and just get myself in a comfortable position. So if I want to upgrade, I can upgrade, or maybe try make this a rental property, build your real estate portfolio. It's just, if you go through a financial downturn personally, you don't want to have to go into foreclosure, do a short sale, try to get rid of your house, because you're spending every single dime on mortgage and bills. So get a house that, you know, you can afford with a few extra dollars to maintain your standard of living, and just in case of emergencies, right? Maintenance or just medical, you never know, right? So I don't believe in living paycheck to paycheck and spending every single dime. Once upon a time, we all go through those things when you're young. You got an apartment, probably in school, you probably go through those things, right? But as you become an adult, it's like, my advice to home buyers is buy something that you can be comfortable with financially. You know, you don't want to be pinching pennies to pay your mortgage. Not a good strategy, especially in how volatile the market is. You know, and we live in an area right here that is kind of dependent upon the federal government, right? The DC and Maryland area, the Washington metropolitan, which also encompasses Virginia, Northern Virginia. Most jobs rely on the federal government, and we saw all the federal government job cuts. So you don't know, and this is just for this area, but other areas are going through things as well. So things are kind of unstable, not unsure. You hear possible switching of the Fed chair, Jerome Powell. So you never know where things are going to go with the new person, the new policies. So we're kind of like in a volatile situation right now as an economy, a nation. So if you can afford a house right now, get it, but don't spend your last dime, and don't get a house where all your money goes towards bills. Rising costs. Prepare for higher closing costs to ensure you have emergency funds for maintenance and not just down payment. You know, I was told when I bought my house, have at least $5,000 left over, which I didn't, because at the time I also made, it's like things come in threes. I made a big purchase. I did something big as well on the family side, and it was just big expenditures back to back to back, and I was almost cash strapped. Thankfully, I bought a house that I could afford, and I have extra money. But if I had gotten the house I really qualified for, the highest dollar I qualified for, God knows what would have happened, because all those expenditures, and you know, you spend everything, and now you're pinching pennies. So I always recommend buy a house and make sure you have at least 5,000 extra. If you're buying a new construction, then possibly the warranty should take care of things, but sometimes these need to repair it and then get reimbursed or whatever, which you don't necessarily have to do. But there are nightmare stories with new constructions. They're all over the news and social media. You can look into them. So still have extra money, or you still may need to furnish the house, you know, or you may spend all of that and then you got to pay your mortgage. Just keep a little something on the side, right? Rainy day. funds, right? If you're buying an older house, you never know. Things may look good. You get in, you got to change the roof. Always do a home inspection, by the way. But you may still buy the house, things look good, the inspector passed it, and then you run into the refrigerator pops, the water line pops in something, your washer, dryer goes bad, I just had to replace a dryer, and I've been in my house now for at least 4 years, but I never liked that dryer anyway, but that's what was in the house. I kind of always wanted to replace it. And then, was it the dryer or the washer that went bad? It might have been the washer, but it was one of those single units where they're attached. And the bad side about that, once one goes bad, you got to replace both. So I bought 2 separate units now, and it's just something to think about. At least it lasted 4 years. But as soon as I got in, maybe a year in or so, I had to change the water heater. These are just things to think about. The water heater, you got to change. And then, thankfully, everything else has worked. But I've done repairs that I wanted to do. But the water heater was like, you have to. And also, I had to do like septic work, These are things I didn't see coming, So I try to advise buyers, you never septic working, right? Some people are in areas that with public sewage. I'm a little further out, and I prefer where I'm at because of the land space, get a lot of land. But when you live so far out, sometimes you get the land, but you don't get connection to all the public facilities. So you need a septic system, and then boom, that goes bad. You got to get that fixed. It's not something you could live without. The water heater went bad. Got to get that fixed. Not something you could live without. So what I wish I knew before buying my first home. All right, so without further ado, let's get started. But I'll say this, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please make sure you do so. That's how you help the channel grow. And also, if you're looking to purchase or sell a property in DC or Maryland, I'm your guy. My contact information will be in the description down below. So signs you're ready to buy a house. 1, your finances are solid, not just okay. A steady income that's likely to continue. So that's why even lenders look for at least 2 years of that particular employment. Not that you've been employed for 50 years. They want to know that you've been working for that particular company for 2 years. A down payment, often 3 to 20% depending on the loan type. Closing costs, typically 2 to 5% of the purchased property. That's average closing cost. I would say around the 4 to 5-ish, but 2 to 5 depending on what you can negotiate. Anyway, we out of here, man. Yeah, so as mentioned, while I was there with the buyer, she came with her husband and the 2 children. I was able to ask some qualifying questions, better feel of how soon they're ready to move and what they're looking for. So that's always a good thing, and that's the right way to do it, I think. It's always good to qualify people so they don't waste your time. Yeah, it's always good to qualify people so they don't waste your time, but it's also good to provide them with what they're looking for. And then you give them something they feel comfortable giving you more. And the beautiful thing about it is, I got a couple houses under contract in the area, so they asked me, do you show a lot of properties in this area? And I had a folder. I normally have a folder for people I meet for the first time, and I had all those flyers in that folder. And I say, yeah, I do, and here go the folder. Also had some information for them as well as home buyers, but that always comes in handy when you can show somebody that's interested in buying in an area that I'm delivering results for home buyers in this area. So that was definitely a plus. And there's no guarantee they're going to work with me, but I think I answered a lot of their questions. There's some more feedback and things of that nature, follow-up that needs to be done. And that's the beauty of it. So we're going to do that follow-up over time, slowly, and build a rapport to where when they think about buying or selling a house, you're the person that comes to mind, you know? That's exactly where we're trying to go. Yeah, so that's a day in the life of a realtor. It's going on 4:30, and responsibilities. You already, if you're okay with repairs coming out of your pocket, because you can't call the maintenance guy anymore. That's a big difference with renting and owning. You can't call the landlord. You are the landlord, right? Yard work, you know, HVAC issues, roof problems, etc. You know. Next, you say you have a clear budget and pre-approval. A strong sign of readiness is you know your price range based on real numbers, not just guessing. You're pre-approved, your activities are getting there, and you understand monthly payment limits, not just the price of the home, you know. Finally, we'll say renting is no longer serving your goals, you know. For example, rent is rising faster than your income. So now you're paying somebody else's mortgage, or you're making somebody else wealthy. So you might as well start building equity. You know, you want stability or equity building. So stability is like you probably are going to get married, or you landed a job where you think you're going to build a career, or you move to the perfect state or neighborhood and you want to build a family there, or just want to stay there, or you want to build equity rather than paying somebody else's mortgage off. You want to start paying yours off and building equity. And you need more space or control over your home. So space is a key thing, and control, just those are some of the rights that come with owning a house, right? The right of control, the right of exclusion, meaning you can exclude people from coming to your house, things of that nature, but you just want that control, right? How much house can you afford today, right? The honest answer is it depends on your income, debt, down payment, credit score, and interest rates. Most lenders still use the 28-36 rule as a starting point. Housing costs should stay below 28% of your gross income, and all debt combined below 36% of your income. So they do that and see where you are. Quick 2026 affordability estimates. You'll say good credit score, and you'll say 20% down. That's the max. I wouldn't say the max, but at least for conventional. Typically, mortgage rates are around the mid 6% right now. So minimal other debts, right? So let's say your annual household income, these are just approximates. It's not etched in stone. But if your annual household income is about $50,000, you probably can afford between $160,000 to $220,000 of a house. Once again, this is all predicated on other expenses and also where you live, you know, and your debts, right? Minimal, you say your annual household income around $75,000, you're now looking at $250,000 to the $320,000 range. If your annual household income is $100,000, you're looking at $340,000 to $400,000. Once again, this all depends on your lifestyle. If you have a $1,000 or $1,500 car note, then you got to drop that house affordability, right? But let's say all things being equal, you don't have a lot of debt. These are the approximate home prices. If you're making about $125,000, you can afford between $430,000 to $500,000, right? If you're making 150K, you're looking at $525,000 to approximately $600,000. And if you're making 200,000, you're looking at 700,000 plus. So if your household income is 100,000 a year, a comfortable monthly payment is roughly $2,300 a month, which generally supports your home price around $340,000 or $400,000, depending on your taxes, your insurance, your down payment, right? Because the more you put down, the less you got to pay monthly. Don't forget cost of, property taxes. We talked about those. Homeowners insurance, HOA fees, maintenance, repairs, and then utility bills, right? Because these are all other costs you're going to add with that. So hopefully that gives you an idea of what you can afford in this market right now, right? Things change if interest rates go down or they go up. How much house do you really need? How much money do you really need to buy a house? Common misconception is that you need 20% down to buy a house. In reality, many buyers purchase homes with much less. I see that a lot now. There's this conventional 3%. Conventional 3% because back in the day when the 20% standard was set, homes were affordable. Even if they were not super affordable, at least the cost of living was lower. So if you make $60,000, $70K, $100,000, you can really afford something nice back in the day. Somebody once came and said, 140,000 is just breaking even in the poverty line, just the way things are expensive. So now a lot of lenders knowing 20% of a $400,000 house, that's a lot of money, right? When you think about that, it's like $80,000. Lenders know people don't necessarily save up to 80 grand to buy a house. So they made this conventional 3% where it's $12,000 more feasible, right? So we stick with that number, $400,000. 3% down would be $12,000, 5% down would be $20,000, and 20% down would be $80,000. Closing costs, as mentioned, will be usually between 2 to 5% of the purchase price. These can include lender fees, title fees, appraisals, taxes, and insurance. For a $400,000 home, expect roughly to have $8,000 to $20,000 extra, in closing costs. This is separate from your down payment. So you got to add that 8 to 20 grand plus that down payment, right? So next thing we're going to talk about is moving and initial home expenses, moving costs. Do you need to rent a truck, hire people to help you move, or do you have your buddies that are going to help you do that? Utility deposits, minor repairs, furniture and appliances. Are you buying a home with all new appliances, or would you have to replace some of those? Would you need to furnish? What I see sometimes, people buy these big mansions and they just move in what they have, and as they live in there, they slowly furnish the different rooms. I saw that with multiple people I knew. One person purchased the house for about 700 grand, brand new construction. By the time it got done building, it was worth 100 grand. So they bought the house, moved in with 300K in equity already. They didn't have enough money to furnish the entire house. They came from a townhouse to their forever home. So they just moved their townhouse furniture in certain places, and then as time progressed, they just furnished the rest of the house. And I saw that with another family I knew, pretty well to do. They bought $1 million home, but once again, they had a townhome. They just moved that furniture there. And a couple of years later, when I went to go see them, the whole house was furnished. It took time, right? So that can be a strategy. Real world example, for instance, for a $400,000 house, you put 3% down, that's $12,000. Closing cost is about $10,000. Move-in / setup cost would be another 3 grand. So total needed would be approximately 25 to 30 grand. All right. Yeah, so we done with this showing. Getting ready to head out. Heading out right now, actually. Kind of happy the way things worked out. Had 3 showings for this client today. One wanted to reschedule. This was her first choice anyway. The second one, they got a bidding war going on that one, and it's 2 p.m. today is the deadline. She's not gonna make a decision today, obviously, you know. She wants the whole family to be able to view the property, so that one, once they said we gotta, I just dropped something down here, so I want to get it before I start driving. Once they said we needed to submit, like, and plus put in the GPS, submit an offer by 2 p.m., that one kind of took itself off the table, which worked out for me, honestly speaking. I've been going on 1, 3. I've been going for maybe close to 24 hours. I need to go get some Z's, man. I need to go get some sleep. I've been going for almost 24 hours straight, just grinding. So I need to go get some rest. But I had already agreed to these 3 showings, so I'm kind of happy the very first one is the only one we were able to view. Y'all should see this neighborhood we're driving in, man. Nice houses everywhere. So I definitely see why she would love it for her family. Yeah, they might be throwing in an offer on this thing soon. So we're gonna schedule another showing for this property. But yeah, that's all it is, man. As far as the real estate thing goes, some days you get a lot of showings. Some days you get listing appointments. Some days you don't get anything, you know. But before you get that check, you know, I've shown a lady a lot of properties. Not this client here, but another client ended up buying a house. But, you know, then I remember I showed another client maybe 20 or so properties before we ended up closing on one. So we are at like maybe 5 or 6 properties with this client here. And even it's not even guaranteed you're gonna get it, even if they like it, because it's a very nice neighborhood and competitive, you know, so you know you're gonna get multiple offers possibly. We'll just see. There's an accident right here. 3-car accident. Don't know if y'all saw that. It's unfortunate. Yeah, but this is a very, very nice neighborhood. One of the top and most upscale neighborhoods in Prince George's County. I mean, PG County got some nice neighborhoods, but this one is kind of up there in the county. A lot of people are moving over here. It'll be very good for her to get it with her family, and it's gonna be a steal. House got a lot of potential, so I'm very excited. I like when you get somebody something they like. That's the whole joy in doing this, is getting people something they like, you know. You don't want to sell somebody a property they gotta live in there and they got regrets, you know. Yeah, so heading back now, and I'm gonna call it a day. You know, another day in the grind. I gotta do a better job tracking my mileage for expenses, because I've been driving a lot this year. You know, and those all could be deductible. I just take like the standard deduction for that. but I think I need to be more deliberate and intentional on tracking. These are all things you need an assistant for. Handle those things. It's just I got so much other things on my plate right now. I'm not tracking mileage, gas, but yeah, we'll look more into that as the days go by. All right, y'all, have a good one. Look at the neighborhood, see what houses in your market are going for, and you want to be right around that ballpark. Declutter and depersonalize, and that's one thing I struggled with this one seller, and I just kind of backed out of taking the listing. Just him understanding, and personally, I'm a Christian, but I don't know if I want to see a picture of Jesus in the bedroom, because for instance, not all Christians believe in those pictures being Jesus, so just there are conflicts there. And I'm a Christian, but I don't know if that's the right thing you should have there when you're selling your house. But how do you communicate that to this person when they're very strong in their religious displays? I wouldn't even say beliefs, you don't know, but you just try to tell them, just take that out, because you never know. You understand who's buying your house. Not all Christians think a picture of somebody is actually Jesus Christ. It may be offensive. Some people are not Christians. So this is something I've witnessed, and you're scrolling through their previous expired listings. You see why it didn't sell. They just got all these personal pictures up there. The house is just full and it looks so tight, but the house is a really nice house with space. Sometimes you may need to use the garage, use a bedroom as a storage unit, just box things up, and if a seller is now willing to declutter and depersonalize, sometimes you still may take the listing, but at least let them know this is not the best way for it to go. If you really are trying to sell, get an agent that's gonna do the right things for you. And if you work with them, sometimes the right agent may even cover a storage unit for you. If you really are trying to sell. Some sellers are like, I could sell it, I could wait. Then you at least know. But if this person has to sell, if they got a garage they can use as a storage unit, or one of the bedrooms, at least let the buyers know, hey, this bedroom is full of stuff. You can at least see the dimensions, but the rest of the house looks like a showroom area. People can understand that. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. That is how you help the channel grow. And also, if you're looking to buy, sell your house in Maryland or DC, my contact information is in the description below. Thank you. I sold a house one time in Annapolis where it was a garage. We just turned it into a big storage unit where people were not able to walk the garage. They could just open it and see the size of the garage, but the rest of the house looked like a showroom, and the house was able to sell. It's better you get one little section of your house that's cluttered and full of all your stuff, and the rest of the house is just accessible and it flows, So just depersonalize, take away just your religious symbols, those things are personal to you. Your kids graduate, let the buyer feel as though it's their house. That's all I'm saying. No, I don't want to offend anybody in their religious beliefs, just let the buyer feel as though it's their house and they're going to make it their place, not you feeling that way. So here's another thing, just on a spiritual level, right? Some people may see things as a spiritual battle. If they think you turn this place into some kind of shrine, and you may just turn off another buyer. Let's say I'm a Christian, and if I see some other religious things there, I feel as though it was a temple to worship another God. I don't want to live here. Or vice versa, if I'm some other religion and I see Christian symbols there, and now you think there's going to be some kind of spiritual battle. These are things you don't consider as a homeowner, but there are people that think like that. So when people come into your house, let them see flowers, just nice river paintings, just general decor, and nothing personal, nothing speaking of you. It's like going to a store, a retail store. Some retail stores thrive on standing on their Christian or religious beliefs, but then they only cater to that client. If you are only trying to sell to a certain person, then fine. Maybe a for sale by owner is best for you. But if you just want to sell your house and, to the most qualified buyer, you want to make it general for the masses. So declutter, depersonalize, complete small repairs. We talked about that. Leaky roofs, loose door handles, chip paint. It's crazy what chip paint can do when you think about an FHA loan. FHA loans, when the paint is chipping and stuff, they would not approve it for the most part. They would think it's lead-based paint, especially in homes past 1970, built before 1978. So chip paint, running toilet, burnt out light bulbs, cracked caulking, just little things like that. Get an agent that does professional photography. They just generate more clicks, more hype. You get stronger leads and offers, prepare for showings. So preparing for showings, best case scenario is like you don't live in the house. The house is show ready, people can come and go. But I do understand that you may have to live in the house as you're selling it. You gotta have your house. It's almost like you're just renting an Airbnb. That's how you wanna take it. You can't just get too settled. Even in your house, you've decluttered, you just got a few bowls, few plates that you're gonna use, and always keeping it clean. So when you do get a showing alert, maybe you tell your agent, hey, I need at least an hour, or I'll be working from home during these hours, block it off. And when it's time to show, at least 1 hour notice, you can just touch up your house, get it clean. Try not to get too many smells in your house, even if you're living there. I remember I went to show this house and they were cooking and it's a distinct smell. And the buyer just made it really quick. It's just like daughter's in the room upstairs, dad is in the living room, mom is in the kitchen cooking. It just didn't feel inviting. It almost felt like we're encroaching on their little family time and we just wanted to get in and out. You're doing yourself a disservice. If you get an hour window, strong colognes or strong cooking smells are not a good thing. And if you can, just get out of the house. You can sit in your parking lot. You can watch people come in. You can even install a camera. Just put a sign that, hey, things are being recorded here. Install a camera, sit in your car, and then just give people the freedom to actually look around. Because when you're there, your kids are up in one room, your wife is in another room. People just feel like they're encroaching on your time and they just want to be in and out. Even if they like the house, they don't feel the comfort. Or sometimes a seller being present can be a plus. I've seen that as well. So it all depends on the situation. Let's say your house is like a showroom. Maybe you get your, and you're there as a tour guide answering questions. Oh, the AC was done at this time. If they were solicited, you got to read the room. Some buyers just want to look on their own. They don't want to feel like you're selling them on anything. Nobody wants to be sold, So read the room. If the buyer is asking you questions, then yes, you can. Okay, I repaired the roof at this time. The AC was done at this time, but some buyers just want to be left alone. And some sellers, that's why I say get an agent, because some sellers just feel as though you walk in my house, I'm going to guide you through and tell you, and it can put people off, so just be careful. I would say just get an agent, get a little time, window when people are coming to see your house. If you live there, step out. If you require your agent to be around, you can negotiate that in your contract. Don't negotiate personally. One is, like I mentioned, going to divorce court by yourself and your spouse or your ex-spouse has a high-powered lawyer. They're going to clean you out and you're going to feel like you've been abused by the court system, or just lawsuits, going there representing yourself against, these lawyers that's what they do for a living. You're just food. So sometimes if you try to negotiate personally. Sometimes you got your feelings involved in things, what you think something is worth, and then you deal with like an agent who sells so many houses to negotiate aggressively. You may lose out. Sometimes you may negotiate too aggressively and it can turn people off because you got your personal feelings involved. Yeah, review every offer carefully. So once again, just because you get the most money from an offer doesn't mean it's the best, you know? So review every offer carefully. And in Maryland, it's amazing. You got to submit offers even all the way to closing. Obviously, you're under contract and there can be some legal ramifications from backing out of a contract. But as a seller, just know your agent should be submitting offers to you, even if you're under contract, unless you tell them expressly in a written form that I don't want any offers. Then they can make that known. Seller is not accepting offers, but you can always accept backup offers just in case something falls through. Prepare the home for home inspection. One thing I recommend is you preempt that. You go get your home inspection. You fix the things the inspector recommends prior to even going on the market. So you don't always have to show it to buyers, but when they come with their nonsense, you can say, hey, I did an inspection. These are the required repairs. They're already done. Actually, just closed on a house where we had all those repairs done, and when the inspector walked it, they're like, oh, you got to flush out the HVAC. We just provided receipts. Like, okay, that was done. This was done. Okay, we'll do that. And then we closed. All right. And trust the process, you know, showings, offers, negotiation, appraisal, title work, final walkthrough, and then closing. That's how it goes. So just trust the process. And any final thoughts? I'll say selling your home for the first time can feel overwhelming, but preparation is everything. Choose the right realtor, price strategically, make your home show ready, and stay flexible throughout the process. Sellers who focus on presentation, pricing, and professional guidance typically experience smoother transactions and stronger sale prices. That is just a fact. Not gonna say it because I'm a realtor, but I get more money sometimes go with agents. You do have some homes that just are gonna sell themselves. I've been to some neighborhoods where neighborhood is hot, house looks good. Yeah, I go try to give the seller some of my spiel as to why they should hire me, but I know very well this guy can sell this house on its own. This house is gonna sell on its own. Sometimes I even tell him. As a gentleman, I told that. I said, listen, you're in a very hot neighborhood. This house is going to sell on its own. I don't know if it's going to sell for the most money, though. And it sold in a week, but he left some money on the table. But maybe he saw that as realtor fees and he was okay with it. But I felt like he left about 20 to 30 grand on the table if I would have listed it. But he did it for sale by owner. Another topic we're going to cover is 10 things to fix when selling your home, because we talked about getting your home show ready and doing repairs. Not all repairs are necessary. I like to live by the golden rule. You do unto others as you want done unto you. Sometimes I even get home warranties on behalf of my sellers for at least 1 year. It just covers me at least for a year as a realtor. You know, even though buyers have like 3 years to go file complaints, but I just try to make sure the product is good. That's all. So not all sellers can afford that. Sometimes you're in a hard financial situation. You ain't got money to repair a house, but you got to get it up off of you. And it's like, I got to sell this house. I would love to repair it, but I don't have the money, right? But in this market now where people are looking for move-in ready houses, you know, I'm not telling you go into some major massive repair and then you can't recoup the money. You spend way more into repairs than when you think about repair costs, and what your house is going to sell for is still not worth it. So I would say, you know, thinking about selling your home, many homeowners assume they need to repair every flaw before listing. That's not necessarily true, but that's often a costly mistake. You know, in today's market, some repairs simply don't deliver enough value to justify the expense. Before you spend thousands of dollars on upgrades, here are 10 things you should think twice about before putting your home on the market. Number one, we'll say minor infractions. So small nail holes, minor scratches on the walls, tiny dents on the trim, work usually don't deter serious buyers, While a fresh coat of paint can help, just these little things buyers they don't really care too much, Just every, imperfection is not really worth the time and money unless you're dealing with some kind of obsessive buyer that's just nitpicking every single thing. But just some little things you can get away with. But I can tell you though, a fresh coat of paint goes a long way. Outdated functional appliances, yes, that doesn't necessarily need to be replaced. A brand new kitchen with brand new appliances looks better. But if your appliances are older but still working properly, replacing them may not significantly increase your home's value. Most buyers understand that appliances can be updated later according to their personal preferences. I bought a home, 4 or 5 years ago. I only had to change the water heater so far. The stove wasn't brand new, the refrigerator wasn't brand new, but they're still functional. So what if that seller would have added those costs when these things have... Oh, I changed the washer and dryer. Was it last Thanksgiving when they had the Black Friday sale? Because the washer, it was that one unit, the washer and dryer connected. Either one of them wasn't working, but because it was one single unit, you got to swap out both. So in 4 years of being here, washer and dryer, water heater, but I still got the stove and the other refrigerator and other appliances. So just think about it. And it took actually 3 years of living here for the washer or dryer to go out. So not all appliances need to be replaced. Slightly worn carpeting, that can it can enhance the value of the home. But if your carpet is like really tore up, a lot of stains, if it's like these plain colors that you can get a steam cleaner in there and get it clean, that can be an option. But be mindful of like these colored carpets, like a burgundy, a blue, green. If you try to deep clean those, you can fade the colors and people can actually see the difference in colors, which is like a disservice to the house. So I would say sometimes you may need to replace the carpet, but if it's slightly worn carpeting, unless the carpet is heavily stained, torn, or producing odors, replacing all the flooring can be expensive. Professional cleaning is often enough to improve the appearance. Number 4, we're going to say minor driveway and wall cracks. Hairline cracks through concrete are common and generally don't concern buyers. Most structural issues should be addressed, but cosmetic cracks can rarely justify costly repairs. So if you see the house, like one time we went to see this very, very nice house in Clinton, Maryland, but you can almost see like it's sinking, like the foundation is not working. That got to get addressed. But just a little crack, I got a couple of cracks in my driveway. When I cut the grass, I got to go with the weed whacker and get that little grass that's growing in between the concrete. Maybe I should just seal it off. Anyway, I'll just say that's not something that would drive away buyers. Old kitchen cabinets. So a complete kitchen remodel is one of the most expensive projects a homeowner can undertake. Kitchens can go anywhere from 10 grand, maybe sometimes cheaper, all the way to 50,000 or more, depending on the size of the home. If your cabinets are functional, consider simple improvements such as cleaning, hardware replacements, or repainting instead of a full renovation. Sometimes you got a cabinet refacing. Those are also kind of expensive. So yeah, you don't necessarily have to swap out your entire kitchen. Dated bathrooms. Many sellers spend thousands updating bathrooms only to recover a portion of the investment. If everything works properly, focus on cleanliness, fresh caulk, and minor cosmetic improvements rather than a full remodel. Another thing, number 7, will say partially finished basements. Don't feel pressure to finish an unfinished basement before selling. Buyers often prefer a lower price and opportunity to customize the space themselves. So think about that. Number 8 will say windows. Older windows still function. Newer windows can help. pricing, especially due to energy consumption, you know, but replacing every window in your home can cost tens of thousands of dollars. Unless windows are damaged, leaking, or failing to operate properly, the return on investment is often disappointing. But windows definitely can upgrade your house if they are new. But let's say if they are old and you got a lot of air draft coming through it in the wintertime, new windows are a plus. But if you got functional windows that are sealed properly, you don't necessarily have to swap them out. Landscaping perfection. Curb appeal matters, but you don't need a magazine-worthy yard. Basic maintenance such as mowing, trimming shrubs, mulching, flower beds, and removing weeds is usually enough. Number 10, you'll say minor electrical or plumbing updates. If your systems are safe and functioning correctly, there's often little benefits to replacing fixtures simply because they're older. Focus on addressing safety concerns rather than upgrading everything. What should you fix before selling? While many upgrades aren't necessary, some issues should always be addressed, such as roof leaks, water damage, mold problems, structural concerns, safety hazards, broken HVAC system, major plumbing leaks, electrical hazards. Final thoughts. The goal isn't to create a perfect house. It's to present a well-maintained home that appeals to buyers. Before investing in repairs, consult a local real estate professional such as myself who understands your market. In many cases, spending less before listing can actually result in a higher profit net at closing. But one thing I'll say, the best repair is often the one you don't make. But I'll say this much, as a homeowner, target spring cleaning. Always, I try to do that. I got an older house. I try to do one decent sized project in my house every year since I bought it. Either I change the fence, I change the flooring, you know, bathroom, whatever it is. Every year I try to do something. Some years I may not be able to do some major project, but I may just go around and paint something, you know. Just retouch it. Keep your house fresh. Because or deep clean in the spring, you know, baseboards, everything, or before the holidays, if you're getting family over, what that does is it keeps you from having to spend so much when it's time to sell. All right. Finally, before we wrap up, we're just going to touch on the interest rates today. And the reason why I put the interest rate topic at the back end of the podcast, I used to put it before, is sometimes I'm talking about evergreen content, right? Things that would help buyers or sellers 5 years from now. But when they hear the interest rates from today, they say, oh, this video is 4 years old, and they skip it. So they don't really hear all the other good content. So I tend to put the evergreen stuff that may last in the front end. And then those who stick around can hear this interest rate section. Or we can just cut this into a clip and put it out separately. The national average interest rate for 30-year fixed rate mortgage is currently 6.52% as of today, June 3rd, 2026. For a 15-year fixed mortgage, the average rate sits at 5.82. So average meaning average, right? High, low, medium, right where we are in the middle. Some people are getting a little better. Some people are getting a little worse deals based on credit scores, right? Rates highly, let's see, break down 30 year. 30-year fixed 6.52 with an APR of approximately 6.70. 15-year fixed 5.82% with an APR of about 6.03%. 30-year FHA is about 6.46. Imagine during the pandemic, I got a loan for 2.98 or 2.89. Now it's 6.4 something. So timing is everything in the market. But there are people who bought at 8 and 10%, and they see this as still a good deal. So there's no telling that we can ever see those 2% rates when 7 was the norm. 30-year VA 6.52. These rates apply to borrowers with excellent credit and typically includes 0.35 in discount points. Your exact rate will vary depending on your credit score, location and loan type, and the down payment amount, right? Rates have slightly retreated from their recent weekly peaks, though they continue to hover north of 650. So you can check with your local lender for a more accurate loan rate. Thanks for watching the podcast. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. That is how you help the channel grow. And also, if you're looking to buy, sell your house in Maryland or DC, my contact information is in the description below. Thank you.
Your ultimate hub for real estate insights, breaking news, entrepreneurial wisdom, investing strategies, and self-development hacks. If you're ready to expand your mind and stay ahead of the game floor, you're in the right place. Subscribe now. Your future self will thank you. Your ultimate hub for real estate insights, breaking news, entrepreneurial wisdom, investing strategies, and self-development hacks. If you're ready to expand your mind and stay ahead of the game floor, you're in the right place. Subscribe now. Your future self will thank you.
Hello?
Wait,
Munster Police Department.
how can I help you?
You come on out, we need to talk to you.
How can I help you, sir?
Can you come on here, we need to talk to you, right?
Yes, sir, I just got in and I just left the station. You guys came to my house a couple of nights ago and I had to go through a...
Put your clothes on. Put your
Okay,
clothes
but
on.
you letting
Put your
me
clothes
guys
on.
keep walking in my house.
Put your clothes on.
Alright, put your clothes on.
Put your clothes on.
Okay, so...
Put your clothes on. No,
Okay.
stop talking. Put your clothes on.
Okay, can you step outside?
No,
Okay,
put your
one
clothes on.
second.
Put your clothes on right there.
Put your clothes on.
Welcome everybody to my YouTube channel. My name is Raymond. I'm a local real estate agent in the state of Maryland and Washington, DC. We are going to react to a quick video. Without further ado, let's jump right in. This is a video of a squatter and it's going viral.
Hello.
Hi.
Once another officer gets here, we're going to go in there
Okay.
and we'll get her out.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we just walked in, heard the shower going, and the door is closed. So I didn't physically see her.
Okay.
But you could hear there's somebody in there.
Are the doors open still?
Yeah, I left it up.
This is a lady speaking to a cop right now. Apparently they walked into the house and they hear the shower going. I just posted a video of a lady who laid down on her bed, went out drinking with her mom, came home the following morning because she spent the night at her mom's house, came home the following morning, lay down on her bed and started hearing noises under her bed, and it turned out to be a human being. She saw legs sticking out of underneath the bed. This right here, from my understanding, is somebody that may have just purchased a home and they're in the midst of like transferring. And this, as you know, I'm a real estate agent, is some of the nightmares home buyers, sellers, and even agents have when you're dealing with that transfer period when the house is vacant. There are people like this that go around looking for these houses, looking for signs in front of the yard just to break in or to see if there's nobody there. And also, one thing I keep seeing are teenagers who would go on Zillow or these websites, look for houses that are for sale. And if they live in that area, or if they may not even have to live in that area, they can just drive down there and throw a house party. They post it out on whatever social media networks they use, and they bring a DJ, just trash the house and party there and leave. But let's keep going.
Okay. You give us permission to go inside?
Yeah.
You want her charged and everything
Yes.
like that? Fantastic. You guys just want to hang out here? Well, I'm sure we're going to talk to you after this, okay? So, front door is open. They walked in, they heard the shower going and the door's closed.
She said going in.
She's trespassing. Yeah, she said we could go in.
Hello? Hello?
Wait,
Munster Police Department.
how can I
You come on out, we need to talk to you.
Sir.
Kim, come on here, I need to talk to you, right?
Yes, sir. I just got in and I just left the station. You guys came to my house a couple of nights ago, and I had to go through a...
Put your clothes on. Put your
Okay,
clothes
but
on.
you said you
Put your clothes
guys
on.
keep walking in my house.
Put your clothes on.
Alright, put your clothes on.
Put your clothes on.
Okay, so...
Put your clothes on. No,
Okay.
stop talking. Put your clothes on.
Okay, can you step outside?
No,
Okay,
put your
one
clothes on.
second.
Put your clothes on.
Right there, put your clothes on.
Make clear the rest, because I know she has a son, so make sure he's not here.
Just get your clothes on and step out. Put your clothes on.
You guys keep walking into my home.
Put your clothes on and step out.
I definitely will, sir, but it's against the rules.
You're right, it is.
Huh?
You're right, it is.
It is, it really is. And this is my house, sir, and I shouldn't be having to prove that. And you guys all over here. You guys are confused just like everybody else. I just left her station. Just now.
Did you figure that out?
Same thing happened. And I have been here faithfully since the month of August.
How does she keep getting back in?
Wow, well, first of all, she has no clothes on. The cop tried to get her to put her clothes on, but she's screaming too much, and they say she keeps getting back in. So this seems like a repeat offender. And the owner did tell the cop, I want her charged. So there will be some lawsuits to go with this, or jail time possibly. Very nice house, by the way. And this is what I talk about. I saw one of these right here in Maryland where the lady used a U-Haul and moved into the house with her furniture, similar to this. Like moved in and is living there. And the neighbors had to call the cops on them. That made the news because it was one of those big houses in the Potomac area. Anyway, let's keep watching.
Get your clothes on.
Did she get evicted or?
She's never lived here. Never lived here? She has no associations with this house.
I mean, yes, I'm not doing anything illegal. I just left. Here, hold on, let me turn around. Sir, I just left your department to pick up my keys. I just came from there. I just moved in as of August. You guys are the ones that hold me in. I'm trying to figure everything out. You guys aren't at the office, and you guys are coming through my door. I'm not illegal. You can run me, and you can look it up. I gave you all of the information, and I have to go back to get my property.
So one thing I'll say, she's just too, hate to say it, too loud and just yelling. The cop is right there next to her. Why is she so loud? And how did she come out of the shower without any clothes on in a room full of male police officers? Some people would try to get some clothes on. I don't know. Yeah, she's just yelling. And here's the thing. You know, I hate to say it, but discernment in people's demeanor, right? What I'll say is, I keep saying this, I've been in management before, and when people get a job and they give you this good game, always too eager, always got something to say, I don't judge them, but I'm a show me, don't tell me type of guy. I take it with a grain of salt. She is, what this is doing right here is just deflecting. It's like you call somebody in the office to hold them accountable on job performance, and they're blaming everybody else in the room. And a trick we always do, or at least I was trained to do, is write down what the issue was and always come back to the issue. They're going to blame another manager, they're going to blame another associate, they're going to blame the work conditions. Just say, okay, we'll address that at a later date, but here, this is what we're talking about. She's just yelling and deflecting, and if the cops are not going, trained, they can just follow her down a rabbit hole and forgot what the issue is, which is you're living in somebody's house. Where's your documentation?
Okay, that's it. You guys are walking into my residence like I don't live here. I'm not.
I'm right here.
I'm just saying, I'm just now coming home. You guys just did this, and you guys are the ones that is the ones that helped me to get in here. So you know I'm not illegal.
This is an application for employment.
Well, I just left your business is what I'm trying to tell you. I have my information, and you guys got some as well. Okay. And it should be.
You see, she's just over talking and yelling and deflecting, threw paper in their face and give a story. So you're now focused on the story and not the document. But the cop is being very calm and keeping his eye on the document and saying this is an application to whatever. It has nothing to do with this house. And she's yelling, and the guy's right here in front of her. Like, what's the purpose of that? I don't get it. But that's what they'll do. And they, you know, good thing the lady came in there. That's what I mentioned in the other squatter video I uploaded. If you haven't seen it, please go do so. Is have a camera there. Make sure you are there. So as soon as they move in, you're there or you can see it. So now when you call the cops, it's a break-in and entering thing. It's not a kicking somebody out that lived here, because we did another squatter video where the guy had lived there for a while and the cops told him, well, we can't kick him out. You guys can both coexist. In his grandfather's cabin, they have to coexist because he's already established a residency in your house. Now you got to go through the court system to get him out. But if you see him on your camera, they go in, you call the cops, you get him out, or you get the cops there immediately. Now it's a trespassing thing. So with squatters, I always say catching them on site red-handed or as soon as possible is the best way out before they settle in. Let's listen to a little bit more of this.
Your computer system, sir, this is not illegal. Only thing is I have to get to the, I'm going to the B&B in the morning. I'm sorry. I'm going in the morning because you guys have something, you know, a glitch in the system somewhere. I'm getting up B&B early in the morning so I can get all the documents, so I can get everything transferred over. Until then, I can't do anything until you guys are open. You guys are closed and you guys are kicking in the door.
We didn't kick in nothing.
Well, I mean, you're standing in the door.
Do you have a house key or something?
Yeah, and yes, and it's in your property. Could you take me? I can definitely give it to you and I will open my door.
Do you have, stop shouting.
I'm sorry.
Like right
I understand, officer.
Room is echoing?
Yes, I have keys to the front door. I have keys to my back. I have keys to the entire place.
Do you have a copy of the lease agreement?
Well, this is I purchased this home. I purchased this home from somebody a couple of years ago, and I just moved in August. So she doesn't live.
Who is the somebody?
She's from the Sotheby's Realty. She doesn't even live in Illinois. I don't even.
She purchased the home a couple of years ago, but she just moved in August. Sometimes, you know, all you got to do is listen to people. They'll tell on themselves. She purchased the house a couple of years ago, but she just moved in August. The doors are open. Do you have keys to the property? She'll go get the keys. Take me there. Do you catch my drift? Like, there's a lot going on here that's just, it doesn't sound right. And I'm glad the cops, one, told her to put her clothes on. Why would she even come out of the bathroom naked? I don't know what that's about. Secondly, she's just yelling and yelling and the cop is right there. And sometimes this is a perfect video how to de-escalate. You know, sometimes when people are going off, you just stay calm, you just get them on the other side.
This is an application for employment.
Well, I just left the village is what I'm trying to tell you. I have my information and you guys got some as well. Okay. And it should be in your computer system, so this is not illegal. Right. Only thing is I have to get to the,
So, just a quick recap. They busted in the door. If you didn't see the previous video, well, they didn't bust in the door. The door was open. The owner called them. The house is open. Apparently, the owner came in and they just heard somebody in the shower and called the cops. And if you hear the cops, she's been in this property quite a few times and she keeps getting in. And the other cop was asking, how does she keep getting in? And one of the cops said she has a son, so he went around to look for that person. Then another cop was asking, hey, what's going on with this lady? Was she evicted or something? And then the other cop said she has no affiliation with the house whatsoever. When she came out, she brought this piece of paper and just stuck it in the cop's hand and is talking over the cop, just loud talking, in essence, just trying to distract him from reading the paper she gave. The paper, it's almost like Training Day. Remember Denzel Washington, Training Day, when he folded up the piece of paper, gave it to the lady, hey, I got a warrant, and he busted in the house, and she just sat there when everything got stolen, the cash got stolen. Then she looked at the paper and said, oh, this ain't no warrant. That's just how it goes. they distract you, and you're not focused on the document they put in your hand. Now you think something is legit, and they got another play going on that they're running, right? So sometimes you just got to slow down and just listen, and the cop did a good job there, just listening. And ma'am, this is a job application, and an application for unemployment or whatever it was, a pamphlet that she stuck in his hand talking about the house. That paper had nothing to do with anything. And the way she's confrontational and screaming is all about deflecting you from what the problem is. I hate to say it, but this is next level criminality. You're so used to being a criminal or just lying that it's just natural, you know? It's just like your mother tongue, you know. I'm not gonna say I hate to be, but I don't want to be preaching on here, but Jesus said something like this when he said, when you lie, you speak your native tongue. You're of your father the devil, who was a liar from the beginning. I think it may be somewhere in John 6. When you lie, you speak your father's native tongue. And this is just like a native tongue. It's just natural. She's just spewing out lies after lies. It's just crazy. Let's keep going.
B&B in the morning. I'm sorry. I'm going in the morning because you guys have something, you know, a glitch in the system somewhere. I'm getting up B&B early in the morning so I can get all the documents, so I can get everything transferred over. Until then, I can't do anything until you guys are open. You guys are closed and you guys are kicking in the door.
We didn't kick in nothing.
Well, I mean, you're standing in the door.
Do you have a house key or something?
Yeah, and yes, and it's in your property. Could you take me? I can definitely give it to you, and I will open my door.
Stop shouting.
I'm sorry.
Right,
I understand, officer.
Room is echoing?
Yes, I have keys to the front door. I have keys to my back. I have keys to the entire place.
Do you have a copy of the lease agreement?
Well, this is I purchased this home. I purchased this home from somebody a couple of years ago, and I just moved in August. So she doesn't live.
Who is the somebody?
She's from the Sotheby's Realty. She doesn't even live in Illinois. I don't even know where she is. She just called me with congratulations. I got my key. I got in, and I've been here. But if you want to, you can take me to the station.
So this is a real estate channel. She's from whatever realty she said. The person doesn't even live in the state. She got her keys. She got in. You're in the house. How did you get in the house just now? The cop has to take you somewhere to go grab your keys. How did you enter into a house just now? You mean they sold the house and it was vacant, or you left the house open or something? Anyway, it's just, once again, lies after lies, deflections, and it's crazy. And I would have to say this is a good lesson of de-escalation. I just watched a video where the cop literally shattered the window of the guy in the car, and he turned out to be, some people are saying, I don't know how true it is, some people are saying he's either law enforcement himself, either an undercover cop, an FBI agent, or whatever. And he was being calm, and the cop just shattered his window with his hand, literally pulled it, cut himself. It's all on body camera, just escalating it. And then the victim in the car is the one who was just calm the entire time. This is a complete opposite of that. This cop right here is the one that's calm and is de-escalating. While this lady, if you met a cop that was rowdy or matched her energy, this could have went left. She could possibly get a lawsuit, even though she's a squatter, you know. But this cop just de-escalated it. Like, I'm 2 feet away from you. Why are you yelling?
To my property, I promise you I will come back. I will open my, yes, sir. I will open my front door, my back door, everything for you with the key.
You purchased this house?
Yes, I did, sir.
But you don't know from what realtor?
It's Sotheby's. So Sotheby's is the realtor, but I do have my keys. So if you can get my property, like I will give you all of my information, and you can get it.
Any information showing that you purchased?
Everything that I have went to the station. Only thing I have to go to, they told me I have to go to the B&B in Griffith, and once I get there, they can switch everything over for me, and that's gonna take like 10 or 14 days. Purchase.
What a switching everything at the DMV. Here in Maryland, we got an MVA, but DC has a DMV. So MVA here stands for Motor Vehicle Association, but everywhere else has a DMV. Don't know why Maryland chose MVA, but she's speaking about the DMV. What does switching your driver's license has to do with title? How do you even get keys to like, it has nothing to do with anything. driver's license at the DMV being closed. This is a house purchase. We're not talking about a car or getting an ID. I don't know how they're related. What do you have to switch at the DMV that pertains to your house purchase? You know, if you don't have the IDs, you can't get title. At least legally in Maryland, the title company needs to scan these ID and because they need to transfer those records with the county. So that should have been needed prior to closing. Okay, you close now, you got the keys. What does one have to do with the other? I'm not getting the where it translates at all. She's just trying to overtalk. Not so the Beat Realty is the real estate agent. Does she mean that's the company? Is that a scam that she got caught up in? So I'll just go off on a little tangent here for a second. There are these people. I'm a real estate agent. I get the calls all the time from people who are trying to get me to list the property, but the owner is in there. They're telling me this house just foreclosed. Go list this house. You know, and I see some of them online on the MLS at times. Owner occupied, don't bother agent, don't bother owner. I get it if the bank is trying to foreclose, but as an agent, I'm not going to tie my name to that. I haven't been in the house. I don't have any proof you have ownership of the house, and I just put it on the MLS. But I get these companies all the time trying to get me to list the property that they have no ownership of. Is that what she's talking about? And I'm like, how can I put this on the MLS and I haven't gone to take pictures of it? Oh, it's about to be foreclosed. Okay, find somebody else to deal with that. You know, that's not something I want to engage in. But I would say some of them are scams. Some of them I get. They are going through a foreclosure process and the bank just wants to sell it to an owner and cut cost of kicking this person out. And then the new owner has to go through the court process of evicting. It's a way for the bank to kind of get their money and you deal with the problems, but you don't know what that house looks like on the inside. When somebody knows they're getting ready to foreclose, they just tear things up. Anyway, let me get back to this one.
No, everything that I purchased, no, they don't give you anything. When you purchase something and you sign a lease agreement and it's over with, I'm not paying a monthly note, so I don't have anybody to consort with. So I don't have a consorter, but what I do have.
They never gave you.
Well, I mean, I got keys and I got my transfer information to get over with the B&B, like, you know, transfer plates and titles and stuff like that to get my house together. I got furniture coming, that's about it. I don't have anything else that can prove that, but I do have the keys. So if you want to go to the station and bring me back, I would definitely open up my house with the house keys.
When did they get your stuff to bring it to you?
2 days ago, they got my things and bring it to me, and they say, you don't have anything, everything registers, you don't have to worry about coming here, and if anything happens, let us know. That's the only thing that they told me, so I don't have anything against me.
She's clapping, she's talking. If these cops are homeowners, she's lying. As a real estate agent, nothing she's saying, this just tells me she's never bought a house before. Nothing she's saying right there has anything to do with a home buying process. You don't get keys without paper, everything transfers. That's not how it works. When you're closing, the stack of papers is almost about this thick, maybe 100-something pages. That's why I tell my client sometime, if you need that email to you earlier so you can read through it, because I had one client who was trying to read through that at the closing table. She's my client, but I was frustrated. That's not the time to read through that. It's just so many pages. You're not going to get all the details. If you need those closing documents sent to you earlier so you can review them, please do. You know, the closing agent, most likely from the title company, would walk you down. Okay, this is for the water. This is for your loan. This is for this. They go page by page explaining it to you, and you just sign. But you don't really get time to look through everything. Okay, this is for transfer taxes. You'll pay half. The seller's, this is prorated. Okay, the water, the seller has paid this much, so you got to reimburse. They will walk you through page by page, explaining to you what every page is, summarizing it, and you just initial. But you can always tell them, stop, let me review that. But it's best to do that prior to closing. What she's saying now has nothing to do with the closing process. If these cops have ever bought a house, they don't need to be a real estate agent. They would know the processes she's talking about is not related to the real estate industry at all. At all. You just go there, whatever she's saying has nothing to do with the way a house is sold. And there are different state laws, but when you take your real estate exam, you got to take it nationally. You got to take so national standards are there. You know, I'm in Maryland, I'm licensed in DC, but the national standards are there. Some areas may have more codes and different laws and fair housing laws than others, but the national standard is a national standard. Nothing she's saying has anything to do with the home sale process.
I don't have anything or none of that stuff. So that's what I'm saying. If you need to see that information, because I just left from that, but there's nobody in the building for them to process the information to give it back. I will gladly take you there, and you can come with me as well, and you can bring me back, and you can lock everything up. I'll let you lock everything up, and you can see that I entered this house with my key. That's the only thing I can tell you.
Where's your key right now?
And property at Munster, Indiana.
Then how did you get in today?
Because this is my door. My back door. My back door needs to be fixed. I need to go to the Ace Hardware. Only thing that I don't have a lot of tools. I don't have anything. The only thing that I have is the things that you see now. I have to salvage up on food and furniture and everything. I'm just new to the community. So now I'm trying to get everything done so I can, live a homely life and get some things together. But I can't do that. Somebody's at the door saying, hey, well, who lives here? I live here. And if I live here, then I have to be
Do you notice how she didn't answer the question? Where are your keys right now? They're over there. How did you get into the house? This is my back door. I'm trying to live a homely life. She didn't answer the question. And I'm telling you, this is something they train us when you're in management, and you got to write somebody up. Just keep your ears out for the question you asked. And let them explain their behavior, but there's a crier, somebody that cries. When you call people up to hold them accountable, you got a personality type that's going to cry. Then you got a personality type that's going to deflect. That's just deflection right there. I'm trying to live a homely life. I'm not new to the community. I'm got to go to Ace Hardware. My back door is broken. How did you get into the house? That question wasn't answered.
Life and get some things together, but I can't do that. Somebody's at the door saying, hey, well, who lives here? I live here. And if I live here, then I have to be just like everybody else. You know what I mean? I'm not causing any trouble and I'm not causing any drama. This is bringing conflict to my community. I've been good since August, since I moved in. Now they're like, what's going on? The neighbors, what's going on with all these officers coming around to the property that's been sold?
Because the homeowner called us.
Well, yeah, I definitely not, because I'm the homeowner and I don't have any complaints, and I'll be the first person to call Munster, Indiana if I do.
All right, we're going to wrap it up right there. What we'll do is we'll watch the third part, so stick around for that video. Make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. If you're trying to purchase a home in DC or Maryland, visit my website, which will be in the description down below. Book a free 15-minute consultation. Without further ado, let's get started. Make sure you lock your doors, get a camera. If you're a listing agent, check on your listing periodically. If the owner allows you to have a camera in the front door or something, and in Maryland, you got to have these signs, that's fine. This property is under surveillance, whatever you need to do, because you don't want to get a listing and somebody's squatting in there and you didn't catch up on it and it becomes too late. All right. So always try to check, have a plan with you and the seller as to how this house is going to appear, as though it's been monitored. Because the good thing here is this lady got caught instantly. The seller came, the homeowner came in there while she was in the shower.
The property out there, we can come directly in the keys.
Is it like something? No. 1085 and then drop that.
He's gonna hang up the charge. Criminal trespass.
Residential.
No, it's not, sir. So if we go get my property, I will show you the entryway to the
Ma'am, you
house.
don't live here.
Okay, sir, once again, sir, can we go?
What's your last name?
It's Goodson, Godson, and it should register 127 Beverly Place, Munster, Indiana.
What thing is it?
Okay, what I'm just trying to say.
What's your last name?
Okay, it's Goodson, Godson. Donnie.
What's in the bag?
These are personals. I went and picked up a charger for my phone because my phone was dying. I got some personal things that I got. That's about it. I just left the store.
Did you shower while you were here?
Well, I just came home. That's what I'm saying. I'm hot. I'm sweaty. This is my phone, and then all of my personal stuff. I'm sorry?
Were you using the shower?
I just came home, and I just came home, sir. I just came home, and I'm in the house.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna place you under arrest.
That's okay, but can we go get my keys, sir?
So we talked about this in the last video. Deflection. Do you know how she didn't answer? So they're contemplating criminal trespassing. Deflection and crying. Crying, sometimes people say play the victim, and deflections. When, as a manager, when I used to do retail managing and writing people up, they would always say, at least my mentor told me, write down on a sheet of paper when you getting ready to have a difficult conversation, write down the key point. You know, I think it was Bill Burr or one of these comedians that say they can never win an argument with their wife because they deflect and talk about all other things. Then you make a comment that you can't come back from, and now it's about the comment you made and not what the argument was originally about. So I was told by my mentor, write down the topic that you're going to hold this person accountable for, and when they deflect or cry, just acknowledge them, tell them you're going to address that at another time, and circle back to the topic. Did you take a shower since you came here? It's hot, I'm sweaty, I came home. Never answered. Mind you, in part one of the video, they walked in on her and she came out of wherever the shower naked. Even though the door was closed, they told her to come outside. She could have eaten. They didn't open the door. She voluntarily walked out to the cops naked. They had to yell at her to go put on her clothes, which is crazy. But deflection, she never answered, and she's just stuck on it's her house. And they've already decided. It took a while for them to accuse her. The owner is outside, by the way, for those who didn't watch part 1 and 2. The owner is outside in the car. She walked in the house and this lady was in the shower. And she's just not answering the questions.
Because this is ridiculous. You guys are looking for our owner, and that's who I am. And I don't like how you guys keep coming through my door. You can help me. So once again, hold on line, sir. Okay, so once we go to the police station, is it possible that you can pick up my property and come back so I can show you the key? I will let you come to the door and open it. As long as you see that I have keys to this residence.
I'll do you one better.
Yes, sir.
I'll look online to leak on the property.
I don't know where, I have to go to the B&B. I don't know if it has all registered yet, as of yet. But this is just a personal property that I just received from you. The things that I have, just some notes and a few dollars. I have a little cash. That's about it. So once again, I'm asking you, would you be able to go to the station and get my property, which just retains the key and also pieces of evidence that states that this residence was no under anybody's name? I want to talk to you, sir.
Don't come here. You don't live here.
Sir, this is where I live. Where am I supposed to live, on the streets? I'm not homeless, sir.
So they say, stop coming here. You don't live here. This is not their first rodeo with this lady. She keeps and maybe she thought, because I just came from the police station, I can run right back in the house. They're done with me. That's probably what she thought. Because it sounds like she just came from the police station. She keeps referencing, we can go to the station. I guess they have a bunch of keys. And she's saying those keys can open the door. Whatever the case may be, maybe she thought, okay, they came here, they got me, took me to the station, they just released me. If I go right back there, that's the last place they'll expect me to go. Don't know what her thought process is, because they're telling her stop coming here. So it's not the first time she's been to that house.
Go to the judge. Go to the judge.
Okay, so I'm not your wife.
The judge.
Are you going to be able to get my keys, sir, and come back to the property? Okay, as long as we come back to the property, because this is getting embarrassing. Even my neighbors will tell you. There's no reason for you guys to keep coming to this woman's residence. And you guys are not residential police officers. Yeah, like you got my neighbors outside, like I don't pay bills in here.
You see, just listen long enough, you'll catch it. This is getting embarrassing. There's no reason for you people. Well, maybe she's trying to say even my neighbors would tell you there's no reason for you to keep coming back to this woman's residence. She's referring to herself, possibly. But if she's just saying there's no reason for you to keep coming to this woman's property and not talking about herself, that's almost like snitching. Like, I don't own the house. You just had a slip of tongue. Don't know what's going on there. Maybe, here's the thing, maybe she moves in and doesn't do anything wrong, and she said that a few times. Maybe in this section or the previous part, nothing bad is happening here. She mentioned that a few times. Guys, it doesn't matter. You can break into a Walmart, sleep under the shelves, and you're not harming anybody, but you broke the law. You're trespassing. So just because you're not doing anything wrong, you're not shoplifting, you're living somewhere you shouldn't live. You understand? So her justification is nothing crazy is happening. I don't cause any problems. You're living in somebody's house that's not yours, and you keep coming in there. So her thing is, I'm not bothering the neighbors, doesn't make it legal.
You guys are getting very disrespectful, so I can get my property, so I can show you, and I don't have to show you anything. You're not my husband. Now if I call my husband, you guys will be looking sick. Are you going to be able? Yeah. So, okay. Are you going to be able to get the property, sir, and come back to the residence so I can show you the keys that open the door, because I don't have to lie.
Hello, who's the homeowner?
Right here.
All right. So what's going on?
You're not my husband. If I get what does your husband have to do with proving it's your house? Title and deed is what proves ownership, not your husband. And you can she's all over the place. Are you able to go to the property so I can prove it's my residence? What does that even mean? And finally, they're gonna go speak to the homeowners. Let's hear this.
Hello, who's the homeowner?
Right here.
All right. So what's going on?
No.
You're the homeowner. Okay.
Yeah, I'm the owner.
So why is the house empty? Is it?
I'm with her. We just bought it. Or
Yeah.
she bought it. She just bought the house
Yeah.
maybe a week and a half ago. And we're in the process of selling her other home. So
Okay.
she's got a different home that we got to put up for sale. And we've been going between
We've
the
been
two.
slowly adding
Yeah.
things to the house.
The
and
mornings we
fixing
spend
stuff.
in her house in Dyer, and then the evenings we try to get over here and do something until like 8, 9 o'clock, and then we leave.
Yeah, so this is a new homeowner. I feel bad for her. Not new as in first-time home buyer, but a new homeowner. And she's trying to get out of the first house she sold and move things here. Maybe her friend or a real estate agent, whoever that is helping her move in. And when she comes in there, she saw, or the first video shows when she came in there, she saw the lady. She didn't see, she heard somebody in the shower. So they come to this new house, the house we just saw, at 8 p.m. and try to just put it together. And they go to their old house. She's trying to sell that. So it's a lot for them to do by themselves, and it's taking time. And predators just smell that. They just smell that. This house is vacant. I'm in there. That's why I said, have a camera at the door. If you are like the house she's trying to sell right now, if she's tight with her current neighbors, have them keep an eye on your property. Because these squatters move in. Literally, I saw one with a U-Haul truck that moved in to a big mansion with a U-Haul truck. That means they got furniture and everything. They move in like they own the house. It's just that the neighbors are like, nah, you're not supposed to be there. Maybe they knew the previous owner and they knew they had either traveled, but they called the cops, you know. And here goes some information. We'll just read this up and see what happens.
The suspect was charged with criminal trespass and a felony count of residential breaking and entering.
If the cops had bought a house before, if they're homeowners, they would know this woman is lying. This is just basic knowledge about real estate, and you can catch her. They asked her, he said he can look online because she is saying, if we go to the station, I can grab the keys and show you I own the house. God knows if they even changed the locks or they got keys to the house that open different locks. And just because you can open a door doesn't mean you own the house. Opening the door is not what proves ownership. And the cop was trying to hint at that when he said, I'll do you one better. I'll do you one better and I'll look online. So what the cop can do is just go to the county registry and see deed and title ownership. That's probably what he's referencing. I can look and see that in the MLS in different areas. I can see who's the owner. The county tax records, you can see who the owner is. You know, when I look at a home and I look at history, I can see ownership of deeds being registered. So she has no idea. She's saying, I need to go to the DMV. I don't know, in the state of Illinois, do they transfer title through the DMV or the MVA? In Maryland, we got the MVA. Title doesn't go through the MVA, not to my knowledge at all. Title goes through the county registry. You know, it's totally different. It's not the Motor Vehicle Association that deals with house title. This is not a car. So her saying it wouldn't be in the system. Buying the house 2 years ago, just moving in. If you go to part 1, she said she bought it 2 years ago and she just moved in now. So it's like, that's way more than enough time for a title to get transferred. It's just what she's saying shows she has no idea how the real estate process works, so she wouldn't tell that to cops who possibly are homeowners and know where to prove ownership. It's not the DMV. I don't know if that's a thing in Illinois, but in Maryland, the Motor Vehicle Association, which is the equivalent of the DMV, because DC has a DMV, that's not where you go to prove ownership of a house. Maybe title of a car, ownership of a car possibly, or license, but not ownership of a property. She's 36 years old, criminal trespassing, and then a felony count of breaking and entering. See how she just spoke with so much, I wouldn't say confidence, it's just a deflection tactic. Just aggressive yelling, just to throw you off from what the facts are. Good thing the cops stayed. They really de-escalated. I really commend them for that, because there are so many videos of cops just not knowing how to control themselves. They really de-escalated this. This is a master class on how to de-escalate and, you know, handle a situation. Well, once again, for real estate agents out there, make sure you got eyes on your listings, because when they're vacant like this, people break in, go in there all the time. Not all the time. I've never dealt with that personally, but I have dealt with somebody who cut like the netting in a new construction trying to get inside. Brand new construction, almost $700,000 house. And the way they built those new houses, they got these little latches that keep the window from coming up from the outside. It's like a security mechanism. You can only open it from the inside. You got to push those latches in. And the neighbor told us these are kids in the neighborhood that throw parties in this area. So it's a new development. The neighbor was trying to get a family member to purchase that house. And he said these kids are just throwing parties in these new constructions. You know, they just throw parties there, they go in and break in. So they cut the screen trying to come inside. That's the most I've seen in my career as far as dealing with squatters or people breaking into a vacant property. But it is happening. Those kids come in there, throw a party, trash the house. But these people also move in. They move in with furniture and just live comfortably like they own the place. And once they establish some kind of residency based on the state, it becomes a nightmare to get them out of there. Stay safe out there, guys. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.
Your ultimate hub for real estate insights, breaking news, entrepreneurial wisdom, investing strategies, and self-development hacks. If you're ready to expand your mind and stay ahead of the game floor, you're in the right place. Subscribe now. Your future self will thank you.
My HOA is foreclosing on everybody's house.
I may have just created a neighborhood war.
And I took my association to small claims court for $20,000.
Hey guys, so I live in an HOA and I got another HOA horror story for you.
Welcome everybody to my YouTube channel. My name is Raymond and I'm a realtor in Maryland and DC. Today we got a HOA horror story video to react to. We're going to jump right in, but before we do, make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. That's how you'll help the channel grow. I really will appreciate it. Also, if you know anybody looking to purchase or sell a home in DC or Maryland, I'll leave my information in the description down below. Without further ado, let's get started.
Hey guys, so I live in an HOA and I got another HOA horror story for you. So I recently just had my driveway extended like yesterday. It took a month, actually over a month, to get approved because I kept getting rejected, but I finally figured out what the rules were. That was on me. And I got my driveway extended per the parameters of the HOA guidelines, which is it could only be extended 3 feet on either side from the existing driveway. So yeah, so I extended it 3 feet on either side using these.
Kudos for is he took ownership, didn't know the bylaws, and that's something I've been stressing in these HOA horror story videos, right? Make sure you read the bylaws of the HOA. And one of them is he didn't know exactly the dimensions of how much he can extend his driveway, and he kept getting rejected. And that's another reason why people don't like HOAs is I want to extend my driveway. It's my yard. Who are you to tell me I can't do so? And that's another reason why people love HOAs. Make sure the whole neighborhood looks a certain way so we can keep the value of our homes. Different strokes for different folks. Let's go.
Same type of materials that the original driveway was constructed with when we bought the house. So I had a neighbor walk by and looked at my driveway and she was just like, hey, just so you know, I don't think, this is allowed. And I was like, oh no, I got the HOA approval. I had to submit a whole application with a sketch and a mock photo and like the vendor's proposal and all that stuff. It's like, yeah, but it looks too big. And they said the only rule was I can only be 3 feet on either side of the existing driveway. That's my extension zone, and I cannot go to the sidewalk. I have to stop before the sidewalk. So I'm well within that. So yeah, but it looks a lot bigger than the other driveways, and I'm just like, yeah, and
so that is sometimes the problems with HOAs. You did your construction, the driveway looks pretty nice, but then you got an HOA, just a neighbor. That's the problem with HOA sometimes, right? If you know, there can be a lot of bossing around going on. And depending on who is in the HOA, as far as the board, it can be a lot of bossing around going on. You just spent all that money, got your driveway done, and the neighbor is walking around, and it's not about, hey, nice driveway. Just think about humanity. You did your driveway, looks pretty decent. It's not nice driveway. It's, hey, I don't think this is approved. That's why some people don't like HOAs. But as I mentioned, if you let somebody get away with extending the driveway, somebody's just going to add another room to the house, on the side of the house, things, and the whole neighborhood can look a mess. So I get why certain neighborhoods want to look a certain way. Anyway, let's keep going.
I just don't think I'm comfortable with that. And I was like, ma'am, you're not even on the HOA board. So, yeah, but they're going to be hearing from me. And I was like, dear freaking God. So I'm going to make it my mission to make sure this woman never gets any position of authority on the HOA board as long.
Well, there's always his story, her story, and the truth, they say, sometimes is in the middle. But just imagine you got your driveway done and your neighbor's telling you they're not comfortable with your driveway. It's amazing what happens in these HOA communities. But if it did violate the bylaws, then she has all right to do so. But he said he got permits and approval. But even though he did that, she doesn't like the way it looks. And the board is going to hear from her. Wow.
Because we live here. But this woman, whenever she walks around the neighborhood, you know, I guess inspecting her fellow neighbors, making sure they're following the rules, she takes her really loud, obnoxious little dog, like it's a Chihuahua, which is like my least favorite breed, to each their own, you know, like I have no problem with people owning dogs. She lets it crap everywhere and doesn't even pick it up. So now that I know that she does that regularly, I also know that actually is against HOA guidelines. So I'm definitely going to be recording that and sending that to the HOA like every time.
Well, what I'll do is I'll leave a link to this video in the description down below. And that is one I'll say we didn't touch on before, is not the board, just your neighbors. Can this happen in a non-HOA community? Obviously. The only thing is they may not get a board, they can call the county on you, but there's not that much power as in an HOA community. And that is a horror story sometimes that make people tired of HOAs. Is this lady apparently is not even on the board. You can say if it's a board decision, it can be understandable. This lady is not a member of the board. She's just a neighbor walking around inspecting people's homes to make sure it's within guidelines. You can say, does she not have something better to do? But as I mentioned, in real estate, when a neighborhood has a certain aesthetic look, feel, when you drive in, all the grass is cut to a certain level. Everything seems kind of uniform. As much as there might be subtle differences, the developers and planners keep it within a certain frame and guideline, which can increase value over time. So on the lady's part, you can see why some people do that just so they keep the value of their home. They don't want people coming in there with green doors, yellow windows, and just tanking the value of their homes. However, some people can go overboard.
Happy Saturday, everyone. I may have just created a neighborhood war. Now, I need your opinions, your thoughts, because I might have just fucking pissed off my neighbor, and part of me is just like, you know what, I don't care, because they just don't seem to care. Now, I live in a community, right? HOA. We are houses on top of houses. My neighbor has like a secret garden. All of his fucking plants, trees, everything just grow over everybody's fences that are surrounded by his house. He don't give a flying fuck. I wouldn't care so much if the plants on...
So she said she just created an HOA war. And this is some of the things that I wanted to address. And some of the reasons why people don't like HOA communities. If you're in a non-HOA community, unless the county stops by to mess with you, or the local municipal government, for the most part, you're free. Your neighbors may despise certain things you do. They can call the cops, but for the most part, you're free. In an HOA community, however, if you do a little thing your neighbor doesn't like, as she said, we're houses on top of houses, so they're all like together. You can see it that way, or they're like condominiums, one on top of the other. Or they're just bunched and grouped together, not that much space. And she said she started the neighborhood war and doesn't care. Let's keep going.
My side weren't fruit trees. And the only reason I care about that is because I have a dog that has a dog door. And he can go in and out all day as often as he wants. The issue is he's eating the fruit that's falling off of the tree into my yard. I believe they're figs, that's what they look like, and it's giving my dog the shits.
It's really all about how you interact with your neighbors, or the golden rule of life, you do unto others as you want done unto you. But here's the thing, I noticed this with human beings. We don't care too much about the next person. Everybody is looking out for themselves. Just think about it. She's saying her neighbors, a tree is protruding over her yard, and she wouldn't care so much if it didn't have any fruits. These are fruit trees, so what I'm assuming is they probably fall down and make a mess in her yard or whatever. We'll see. But one thing I want to point out is we don't care too much about the next person. Think about it. If you're a dog lover, I see it all the time. You go to stores and you got your dog running around and licking everybody's feet. Do you think for a second not everybody likes a dog, or not everybody wants a dog to lick on their feet? You know, so same thing if you're a plant lover as a homeowner right now, you just let your plant grow onto your neighbor's house. Do you think for a second your neighbor may not like your plants? You know, and it's like, okay, my plants are growing, I don't care. You know, it's just what I notice. Everybody is out for themselves without a single thought in the world. Or people are just, that's why even the divide in society right now, people just think their way of thinking is the right, either the right way or should be the only way. But I think we should just take a second and just consider, yes, I like animals, but does everybody like animals? Some people are even allergic. They might love them, but they may be allergic to them. You know, some people may love plants, but they may be allergic to certain plants. Just take yourself out of it and be selfless is all I have to say about that. It really just bothers me sometimes when people just think the way they think should be the norm for everybody. Let's go.
Okay, too much sugar, not okay. Like you can have them in small amounts, I believe is what I was told. But he can't eat them just all willy-nilly like. So I took it upon myself today to take some clippers, beep, 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 and I cut only down my side of that cinder block fence. Just my side.
So that's a legitimate point she has there. The dogs, she has a dog. It goes in and out of the yard, and the neighbor's figs are falling over. The dog eats the fruits and has diarrhea all the time. Yes, you know, as much as you may want to be a good neighbor, if you got a dog coming in your house and making a mess because your neighbor's fruits keep falling over your yard, that is a valid point. It goes again to just what I mentioned, people not caring about the other. Let's see if she tried to address it with the neighbor prior to calling the HOA, because that's another way you can resolve it. You can just be a good neighbor sometimes and talk to them. But here's the thing. What if the neighbor just blows you off? That's why HOAs are desired by certain people, because they know the community can hold people to a standard. And here's the thing. If an HOA finds you, they can even fine you, put a lien on your house, and they can even force you to sell. They can even foreclose on you. You know, even if you're up to date on your mortgage, if there are certain things that you're falling behind on, or you're not keeping your home up to the HOA code, you can be forced out. So that's why certain people desire HOA communities, because they want their neighborhood to appeal and just have a certain aesthetic, certain feel, which will normally maintain the value of the home. You know, it's a plus, give and take, because if you're in a non-HOA community, just imagine you got this really nice home, then you got neighbors there with it just caused the neighborhood to run down. Grass, you know, 7-8 inches tall, you know, or just almost a foot tall. They turn the house into like a garage, various cars just parked all over, like a junkyard, parked all over and getting rusty. There's a term, a particular term, and I'll try to add it in the description on the screen, but it's when a house, a rundown house in an affluent neighborhood gains value because of the neighborhood it's in. And also, a mansion, there's another term for a mansion or nice house in a rundown neighborhood. That house loses value based on the neighborhood. There's a term for one that's gaining value and one that's losing value. So if you want to maintain the value of your home and you're doing the best, but you got neighbors who treat your neighborhood like a junkyard, and just potential buyers drive by, they look at your house, it just turns them off. There's a gentleman I spoke with. I was going to list his house, And he said, look, I want to sell, but my neighbor's house burnt down years ago. They are somewhere, but they just got a tarp all over the house. It doesn't appeal to buyers. Do you know this guy's contact? I don't know him. I haven't met him. But when I checked the county record, they're still the owner. So that property right there is bringing his property's value down, and he can't sell. That's almost like an absentee owner. They are alive. Unfortunately, they had a fire, but now the neighborhood just looks bad because there's this burnt down house that's just there, and it's been there for a while. I also know a couple, we were shopping for land, took them to go look at this land. Man, the neighbor's house was massive, beautiful. But when they walked the yard that they were trying to purchase, as nice as that neighbor's house was, on the backyard they had like chickens in like a barn, and that turned them off. They're like, I don't know if I want to be in this kind of setting. So your neighbor's house and how they live can influence the value of your home, is the big thing about HOAs. Why people want HOAs for the most part. They keep the standard of the neighborhood. And let's keep listening.
I didn't even go over the center block fence. I just went all the way up, straight up my fence line. Now, is my neighbor gonna fucking hate me? I don't know, let's be honest. But what it comes down to is it's on my side in my yard, and it's affecting my animals, so it's gone.
We're gonna wrap it up right there, but that's what I was talking about. She just took it upon herself to trim the branches that were protruding over her yard. And she within her rights to do that. Technically, it is her yard. And as far as land goes, it's considered the ground all the way down and all the way up, right? You own that. In the state of Maryland, at least. Nationally, it should be the same. You do have certain restrictions if you're by a body of water and things of that nature. You may have to share. So she's within her right. Technically, it's her yard. But it's all about being a good neighbor. You just wonder what kind of relationship she has with her neighbor. Why they can't talk. Why she didn't talk to the neighbor. Maybe she did already. Maybe he refused to listen. But she just cut all the branches. So here's the thing. What if that cutting up the branch now kills the tree on the other side? Does the neighbor have grounds to stand on for a lawsuit? Or sometimes you trim branches and it's like they even grow faster. Anyway, I'll say this much. Be a good neighbor. Try to talk to your neighbors. And hopefully they are also good neighbors and they're considerate. And also just be considerate of somebody else's point of view, feelings, and things they go through, right? I'll leave a link to this video in the description down below as usual. And let's read. Do we have any comments? Just one here saying, I'm on your side, you're right. I definitely understand her point of view. Her pet is getting sick and having diarrhea. The neighbor's tree just grows over her yard. I totally understand that. The only part where I say maybe you should have at least tried to communicate is her just cutting it down. What if she would have spoken to the neighbor? He probably would have taken care of it without her having to do that.
Doing my association, and there's a court date for next month. You guys have been asking me for an update on this situation, and I took my association to small claims court for $20,000. That is the max that my county will allow me to sue them for, and they charged me for an assessment of $20,000.
Wow. Well, seems like this has gone far, and she took the homeowners association to small claims court for $22,000 because of the limit that the court would allow her to sue the association for. Let's see why she decided to go down that route.
$2,000, so that means I guess I'll have to eat like $2,200 or whatever. That's fine. it's not fine, but it's fine for now. And I feel like the association is already trying to retaliate against me because, as you guys know, I had plans on joining the board. At our next meeting is where we kind of like vote and everything. That's also next month in June. I had plans on joining the board and then kind of like dissolving the association as a whole once I get on board. A lot of homeowners are interested in that. Well, this meeting minutes came out and these are on my heels. Let me show y'all. These motherfuckers.
Here's a nugget in life, right? Sometimes you keep your hand close. This is or has nothing to do with real estate per se, but in life it does have some things to do with real estate. It's even if you're negotiating, but in life you keep your hand close. You know, keep your hand close. Why would you go on social media saying you're trying to tear down the board and then try to become a member of the board? One, you got to know HOAs, as much as they keep a neighborhood looking a certain way, they do make some money. It's not a non-profit organization. There's some people that work for that HOA that's how they pay their bills. You do have the neighborhood that meets and they vote for who's gonna be the HOA chair. Those members don't necessarily make money, but you do have, let's say a builder builds a neighborhood, they create the HOA structure and management. Because if you're trying to sell a property, normally you go through the HOA management company. There are people that work there that make money is what I'm saying. However, the occupants don't necessarily work for money. So there is a lot of bossing around that goes on with the HOA. Some people can be anal, you know, just a little bit of grass past the limit. You got an HOA president knocking on your door. It's just not ideal. Sometimes you're just moving in and they want to walk up on your driveway and introduce themselves, and you may be okay with that, or you just may want some privacy. What I'll say is she played her hand too soon. If you know there are a lot of people who want to dissolve the HOA, why would you go on social media talking about it? And then she probably mentioned it to them already. Now you got a target on your back. Here's another thing. Just because people say they want to do something doesn't necessarily mean they want to do it. Sometimes people will tell you what they want you to hear just so they know where you stand. And you never know who's on the other side. It's even like a workplace politics. You know, when people come to talk to you and you just go and you throw your bosses under the bus, those very people sometimes are the same ones that run to your boss to say, hey, he said that or she said that about you or about the company. So sometimes as they're running their mouth, just smile and keep your mouth shut. Don't let people know your hand. You can't really tell who's who. And I think she overplayed her hand by just letting others know, we want to tear this thing down. I'm going to join the board and dissolve the HOA. So that is something that would definitely get you on the HOA's crosshairs.
Said concern was brought up about the eligibility for board membership for owners who owe money or are suing the board. It was thought to be unwise and perhaps illegal, and certainly not in the best interest of the association to allow these owners to be elected to the board. Legal advice will be sought for this issue. Oh baby, I cussed them the fuck out, let me tell you. And I don't even give a fuck at this point. I'm going to sell my house anyway. I don't give a fuck about what bum ass bitches are doing. But
that is just straight up, as much as I don't know all the backstory. Let's say if I have a business and I know somebody wants to become a member of the board of my business just so they can dissolve the business, why would I possibly want you to join my business? You know, because people do that. They come on board and then they take over your business and then they sell it. You sell shares, they just come in and then they sell it, right? So if I know that is your end goal, for the best interest of my business, I may not want you to be a member of my board. You can be a shareholder, but not on the board where you're a decision maker. All right, let's keep going.
No, I said trying to change the bylaws strictly because you don't like somebody in the community, like, you can't do that. Any lawyer will tell you that you can't fucking do that. You got racist people, bum-ass people. Y'all are backdating contracts. Y'all are having, actually, I just found out that my association was sued in October of...
Well, I'll leave it right there. She's going a little off right now. Too much profanity for me, and I'll leave it there. Let's just read a comment here. It says, please stay classy throughout.
My HOA is foreclosing on everybody's house. So, if you guys remember last year, I came to tell you guys that my HOA was threatening to put a lien on my home and start the foreclosure process over a $22,000 assessment that I refused to pay. My HOA had been wanting to do some construction on all of the homes, and this was something that was well underway before I purchased my home. I ended up...
Here's what I'll say. I mentioned this in the last video. HOAs are very powerful, and they can put a lien on your house. So if you owe in any way, shape, or form, whether it's, as she mentioned, some kind of assessment, or also I'll say if you owe HOA fees, or let's say you didn't cut your grass and they find you, and then that goes on for months without you paying, they can literally put a lien on your home, sometimes even force you out through foreclosure, right? Anyway, let's keep watching.
Finding out through meeting minutes and talking with neighbors that not only was this something that was planned as far back as 2022, but neighbors who purchased their home around the same time as me did get a disclosure that there was a siding project that was slowly approaching. I am allegedly one of two people who did not get that notice according to the HOA. And so my HOA said that I could pay them the money back on a monthly basis for the next 5 to 10 years. I declined. I don't think that I should have to pay you anything for this. So I knew, you know, I've been getting a lot of letters. I've been working through this, but I knew that they were trying to come after me, put a lien on my home, etc. However,
so here's the thing. You got to read all the bylaws when you purchase a home. And I don't know the exact style of her building, but when she said siding, what I'm assuming is this is like a joint unit thing, where almost like condos, where the houses are joined together, and the siding project of the entire building, from what it sounds like, the cost will be split. So you just really need to seek, I would say, legal advice is what I recommend here. Get a real estate lawyer that can advise you. You know, I try to tell people this all the time. Just because you feel you're right in a certain way may not make it right in the long term. I'll give an example. For those who know me know I was into management in retail. And I was walking down the aisle one time with another manager, and a customer came walking with an associate, and the customer was mad. And the associate introduced us to the customer as, these are the managers, this customer's irate. What do you think happened? She snapped. I'm not irate. It's almost like calm down.